one is back.
GM's big one is back.
The big one from GM is back.
GM's big one is back with 1.9%, the best GM AC financing plan ever.
1.9%?
Or up to $1,000 cash back on most new 1987 GM cars and on GMC S15 pickups and Jimmys and Chevy S10 pickups and Blazers. GM's big one is back, but not for long.
Let's go!
You are watching WCCO Television, Minneapolis, St. Paul. The Twin Cities' most watched newscasts. With Pat Miles, Don Shelby, Mike Fairbourne has weather, and Mark Rosen with sports. And now, this is the 10 p.m. report.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Debbie Ely, in tonight for Pat Miles. A Northwest DC-9 on its way to Detroit turns back tonight with engine trouble.
The plane is similar to the one that crashed in Detroit. The engine that failed on takeoff tonight is similar to the one on Flight 255. This plane safely returned after passengers heard a loud bang from the rear of the aircraft. The plane slowed its climb, say passengers, circled, and then the pilot told the passengers the engine had failed, that the plane would return.
Handled it very well, and in light of the tragedy this week with the same airline, I thought people handled it very well. And the pilot handled it very well.
You heard this big boom like the engine had gone out. We were sitting right next to it. Her ear hurts real bad from the loud noise. And then he just circled around and came back down, and everybody clapped on the plane and felt really good. We were down on the ground. It was pretty scary, but we'll fly again. We won't take Northwest, but we'll fly another airline.
The plane is one of the older Republic aircraft. Northwest Airlines Public Relations Chief Red Tyler told us tonight that engine failures occur 1,100 times a year. A failure, Tyler says, every 8.5 hours.
The wing flaps tonight continue to be at the center of the investigation into the crash of Northwest Flight 255. Indications are they were in an unusual position for takeoff. Also, it appears the computer warning signs may not have told the crew that the flaps were set in what's called a zero position. 4 years ago, we went along on a Republic DC-9 flight to see what the crew goes through. One of their pre-flight and checks included the wing flaps, making sure they were extended. Then, when the plane gained altitude, the pilot says zero setting, generally used for flying. And an expert told Alan Cox what zero setting might mean for a takeoff.
Situation. Sure, if you had tons of runway and no weight, you'd just glide right off. With fuel and people, DC-9 would need all the runway it could get at zero flaps and then some.
Yet more contradictory evidence about the flaps tonight. National Transportation Safety Board officials say a Northwest co-pilot testified that he saw Flight 255 take off with the flaps extended. The crash of Flight 255 follows...
The crash of Flight 255 follows a flood of complaints made against airlines throughout the industry. Airlines flying in and out of the Twin Cities are not immune. In fact, Northwest is second only to Continental Airlines in the number of complaints received. Tonight, a public hearing was held on the issue, and Daryl Savage was there.
The airline industry is having problems. Complaints of bad service and flight delays are 6 times more numerous than this time last year.
I fly about 100,000 miles a year, and I would say, from my perspective, they're changing for the worse.
In what way is it different?
More dangerous.
And while FAA officials continue to say flying is safer than ever, tragedies like this weekend's crash in Detroit are getting more and more attention. This evening in St. Paul, about 150 people met with legislators and airline representatives to discuss the problems.
Flight problems, that's the leading problem. Baggage is the second one. Refunds is third. Consumer services and ticketing and boarding complaints.
Northwest Airlines top officials were not there to hear the complaints, nor were they there when Minnesota's Attorney General Skip Humphrey and the Attorney Generals from the other states met with all the other major airlines recently to address the industry's problems.
I would suspect that that this airline it will have to respond one way or the other, either to Congress, to their own customers, or to us in some respects.
The complaints tonight range from lost luggage to mid-air collisions, and legislators say until Congress has taken action, airline passengers will keep on complaining. Daryl Savage, WCCO Television News, the Twin Cities.
Lost luggage is just one item Northwest Airlines refuses to comment on. The airline is not known for its accessibility to the media, and since the crash of Flight 255, Northwest has only commented over the phone, no on-camera interviews. That affects what you see and hear about such air disasters. And today, Northwest Public Relations Director Red Tyler justified the policy again by telephone.
Our obligation is first to those families. The second obligation is to our customers and then our company. And we don't think that what we necessarily do in the media amounts to a hill of beans with those audiences.
Northwest also refuses to comment on lawsuits and labor problems.
A Maple Grove family is alive tonight thanks to the efforts of two good Samaritans. Dana Peters and Bob Hansen saw a house on fire early this morning. They stopped their car, ran to the house, and tried to wake the residents.
I heard him break the window in my boy's bedroom, and he crawled out the window, and I grabbed the other two boys, and we got out of the house.
Larry Anderson, his wife, and three sons suffered only minor injuries, as did the family pet, a cat named Morris.
A surprising suggestion tonight from Gary Hart's former campaign manager during a radio talk show in Madison, Wisconsin.
I think it's clearly possible and perhaps even probable that Senator Hart will re-enter the presidential race. I know that all three members of the family, other than Gary, are urging Gary to do it. A lot of his people are urging Gary to do it.
Mr. Hart, who dropped out of the 1988 presidential race amid reports he spent the night with model Donna Rice, today said he is not reconsidering that decision. Republican Senator Robert Dole is testing the political waters of Minnesota, and he has yet to officially announce his bid for the presidential nomination, but today named two Minnesota Republicans to head up his state campaign, Congressman Arlen Stanglin and former gubernatorial candidate Cal Ludeman. Dole told about 50 supporters in St. Paul that his campaign seems to be going pretty well.
Former Vice President Walter Mondale and his family are back in Minnesota tonight, this time for good, at least for now. The 59-year-old attorney and former senator today packed up and left Washington, D.C. As Ava Thompson reports, Mondale says politics are on hold, replaced by practicing law and old friends.
There wasn't much fanfare for the Mondale's homecoming, just family and a few well-wishers. Mondale says it feels great to be back home.
Well, I'm about 7 hours closer to hunting and fishing. That's very, very important.
The former vice president and senator says he'll probably never run for office again, but there's speculation he could run as early as 1990 against Senator Rudy Boschwitz.
Probably never. And that's where I get in trouble. People say, oh, well, then you're planning something. I'm not.
Mondale starts work for Dorsey and Whitney law firm in less than 2 weeks, but the work on his home in Kenwood will take a little longer. Neighbors have been anxiously awaiting his arrival.
I think there's a lot of people that will go by and say, by the way, do you know that that's the house that Mondale's working?
We thought the house was humble, actually, for a former vice president. We thought he'd be living in something really big.
Although residents in this area say they are thrilled to have a former vice president living here, they say they won't treat him any differently. Does that mean they'll loan him their lawnmower?
You betcha. In fact, for $10, I'll probably mow his lawn for him.
Welcome to the neighborhood. Ava Thompson, WCCO Television News in South Minneapolis.
Coming up tonight, Tommy Kramer says he is not guilty of drunken driving.
And one woman's fight with cancer, and trash piles up where it is not supposed to.
I wish Grandpa was here. Wonder why he had to see the doctor.
Hey, you been doing any fishing this year, Phil?
You bet. At Group Health, we believe in taking care of little things before they become big things. And you'll get the finest personal attention from your own doctor.
Everything's okay. We caught it in time.
Hey, pal, how'd they bite?
Grandpa!
Group Health. Quality health care for life.
Levitt's stock reduction sale. There's never been a better time to buy furniture. Check your circular or Levitt showroom for hundreds of bargains during Levitt's stock reduction sale.
RVs 88, only at Spickler's. 88 motorhomes, travel trailers, and fifth wheels, now at limited introductory prices with unbelievable special volume discounts. But don't wait, there's less than 100 units at these once-only 88 introductory prices. Spickler's is Minnesota, Wisconsin's largest RV dealer. But hurry, at these special limited introductory prices for 88s, even at Spickler's when they're gone, they're gone. Spickler's, Eau Claire, Wisconsin.
It's hit. Chevy Mania at Twin Cities area Chevy team dealer. A saving storm of Chevy value. 1987 Chevy S10 Blazer 4x4, just $11,993. A 4x4 under $12,000. You get 43 features. Tinted glass, dual mirrors, power brakes, full instrumentation cluster. 87 Blazer 4x4, $11,993. Chevy Mania this week and only at your Twin Cities area Chevy team dealer. Now take advantage of just announced 1.9 APR or cash rebates.
Tommy Kramer's attorney today entered a not guilty plea on behalf of his client, who's accused of drunken driving. The Vikings quarterback did not appear in court himself because he's still undergoing treatment for alcoholism. Kramer's license has been revoked for a year for refusing to take a breath test. His attorney says Kramer has stopped drinking and is anxious to get back to playing football. And that should happen Monday when he's scheduled to resume practicing with the team.
This next story tells us that there are ways to treat cancer. Carol Koep from Brandon, Minnesota, once had little hope of living. But through treatment on the East Coast and here in Minnesota, she's beating liver cancer. Health and Science reporter Tony Vigneri has her story.
Today, Carol Koep and her husband Chuck are able to work around the house together. It's a day doctors thought they would never see. Carol has a rare form of liver cancer. 3 years ago, she was given only weeks to live.
My liver was swollen to twice its normal size.
Carol's liver grew to the size of 2 footballs. She didn't have many options. Doctors lost hope.
The one option was to go home and die. He said I'd just sleep away, I believe.
But Carol refused to accept she was dying.
She sat straight up in bed, and where she got the strength, and pointed her finger in Dr. America's face and said, "You watch me, I'll beat this."
Carol came here to Methodist Hospital in St. Louis Park. Doctors weren't too optimistic about her future, but they decided to try a new type of chemotherapy. What doctors did was put a catheter in a vein to the liver. The cancer-fighting drugs were carried directly to the tumor. Within weeks, the tumor shrank from the size of a cantaloupe to the size of a small orange.
We were thrilled. It was a dramatic remission, far better than what we had hoped for. And a month later, after having given her the first course of chemotherapy, we observed about a 75% reduction in the size of her tumor.
Carol's health is now good. She says her determination, her family's strength, and the chances doctors have taken are giving her life today. Tony Vigneri, WCCO Television News.
The story, by the way, continued in Baltimore at Johns Hopkins University, where doctors also helped Carol with an experimental treatment. They find that by injecting antibodies into liver cancer patients, they can reduce the size of the tumors.
A temporary restraining order has been issued against the much-disputed fetus disposal law. It would have taken effect August 1st, regulating the disposal of aborted or miscarried fetuses. U.S. District Court Judge David Doty today ruled the Minnesota law does not accomplish its intent, which is to provide for more dignified disposal. Siding with Planned Parenthood, which asked for the injunction, Judge Doty says the statute treats potential human life like a diseased human being, suggesting to the woman that it equates abortion with the taking of human life. A billboard at University and Raymond Streets in St. Paul tonight is aimed at fighting child abuse in that city. It went up today to promote a new volunteer center called Safe Place for Kids. Its organizers are looking for donations of time and money to make the center a reality.
The city of Minneapolis is taking some action against a mounting problem. It's mounting piles of garbage in places where they don't belong. Unlicensed rubbish haulers apparently charge low prices to pick up the trash, and then they dump it wherever they please. A favored spot seems to be this industrial property where Tim O'Neill works.
And it's all household garbage. It's stuff that people that live in the city of Minneapolis will come and pick up for free.
2 haulers have been arrested and they face penalties as a warning that the city takes this problem quite seriously.
Later tonight, the clothes that are in this fall. Also, Warrenberger's latest endeavor puts him in touch with the next generation.
There's a clearance at your Chrysler Plymouth store, and it's sending all our new cars out the door. Everything goes. Everything goes.
Hurry in now for the best deals of the year on the new Chrysler LeBaron Coupe. Get financing as low as 1.9% or $750 cash back. And get the 770 protection plan.
Everything goes. Everything goes.
Get the best year-end prices ever. Everything included. Everything goes.
The Sound Centers celebrate our 12th birthday with a new store in St. Paul and a gigantic Sony sale. You'll celebrate when you see this giant 27-inch remote-controlled Trinitron for just $5.99. Here's one of Sony's best feature-loaded 8mm camcorders. A super deal at $9.99. The area's largest Sony selection is on sale, so finding the lowest price on a Sony is a piece of cake. Look at our circular in your newspaper. Join the celebration at any of the 4 Twin City Sound Centers.
Be at the Dome Saturday, August 22nd, as we kick off our home schedule with a preseason game against the Indianapolis Colts. Get your first look at the Vikings as we gear up for what should be an exciting season. Come to the Dome and enjoy Vikings football. Call Dayton's at 375-2987 or the Vikings ticket office at 333-8828 and reserve your seats now for the Vikings preseason action against the Indianapolis Colts. Tickets are selling fast, so call now.
The Vikings battle the Colts Saturday on Channel 4.
Tonight, Iran admits to planting mines in the Persian Gulf. Tehran radio reports the country must do so to defend its coastlines against the stepped-up U.S. military presence in the Gulf. From now on, U.S. and British naval forces will be more direct in countering the Iranian mining. The forces are being ordered to sink high-powered Iranian patrol boats seen planting mines in international waters. The U.S. government is reportedly considering so-called danger pay for the U.S. naval personnel in the region. It would be an extra $110 a month.
A week ago, the St. Paul Center opened up with great fanfare and high hopes for helping the city's downtown retail businesses. And so far, it seems to be working. Officials tell us the curious and the converted are flocking to the shopping complex in droves. In fact, one business, that's Montaña's Mexican restaurant, ran out of food a few times. They claim to be serving more than 1,000 customers every day. Snelling Avenue has a new look tonight. That's your basic black with pearly white stripes, no more bright orange. The construction signs came down today as the road repair project finished 6 days ahead of schedule. That means traffic should flow a lot more smoothly at the State Fair time. Speaking of which, fair's just around the corner now, just a week away, and the excitement is already starting to build along with the stands at the Midway. Preparations are in high gear as workers push to make sure everything's ready for next Thursday night. I ought to be ashamed of myself, but I get excited every year, you know, and you folks can come down. The WCCO will be broadcasting as usual from our State Fair booth, the 5 and 6 p.m. reports, and we'll all be out here. Hope you'll be out here. I'm already acting like
And after the newscast, we'll be out mooching the mini donuts.
I was going to tell you, Mother Nature's preparing too. The Cortland, the Barron, and the State Fair apple are ripening.
How about
How's
that?
that sound? And have you noticed the sugar maples, little tinges of color?
Starting to turn. Mike, stop it.
Well, that happens around State Fair time, I guess, and we're still progressing. Well, we've been watching showers progress out in the southwestern corner of the state, moving toward us. Much of them have moved across the southern tier of counties in the Twin Cities, and then a line extending up to the northwest is just beginning to enter into the western suburbs. And so right through the central part of the cities, there are some very light showers. Some of those were thunderstorms earlier tonight. Much of that activity has really died down in the last hour or so, and it looks like we're just going to end up with some light showers through the early part of tonight, and then probably just ending after midnight or so. You can see the clouds associated with it. The big thunderstorms have been down in Iowa. There was a watch down there. They've canceled that, however, now and moving into extreme northern Missouri. But the clouds over us are going to continue. Tomorrow it looks like we will have that warm front push far enough north that we'll be on the warm side of it. Should carry our temperatures up into the upper 80s and return the humidity to us. 82 is what we reached today, 57 for an overnight low. No precipitation in the past 24 hours. High temperatures today, there's a big area of 100s down in the central part of the country, and then 90s extending all the way up into western or eastern Montana and western North and South Dakota. We're probably not going to get into the 90s here, but it's going to be close in some areas, and we'll probably top out somewhere in the mid to upper 80s. And this is part of the reason why. This cool front that's going to be through us by late tomorrow night is going to be just out to the west of us most of the day tomorrow. That's going to allow southerly winds to pick up. That'll bring moisture up out of the south for higher humidities, and it'll also give us a good chance as this front goes through of another crack at least of some shower and some thunderstorm activity. So quite a bit of change taking place after the tranquil weather of the last couple of days. Our high temperatures for tomorrow, as we said, will be in the 80s, 90s to the south, and still that big bubble of 100 sitting over North Texas and Oklahoma and parts of Kansas. Been pretty hot down there for the last several days. Well, this is if you live down on 54th and Lindale, your neighborhood. This is what it looked like around sunset tonight. And for those of you that don't, this is what it looks like anyway. Cloudy, 74 degrees, humidity 71%. Dew point is 64 now, and that's been climbing a little bit each hour. Wind south at 5, barometer 3001, and it's rising. Our forecast then, partly cloudy, still a chance of some showers and some isolated thunderstorms around, 65 for an overnight low. Tomorrow, the southeast winds will still be there at 5 to 15, partly cloudy. Still a chance of showers and thunderstorms as the cold front comes through, 87 for a high, and then when the cold front comes through, you're going to feel it. Partly cloudy, still a chance of some evening showers and thunderstorms. 58, though, for an overnight low as we begin to clear out. Partly cloudy, cooler. It'll be breezy on Saturday, but only 76 degrees for a high temperature. The extended forecast continues to drop us then on Sunday, a high of only around 70, slowly warming up into the mid-70s by the early part of next week. 52 degrees, overnight lows. That's kind of fallish. Almost reminds you of football. Any football going on?
We'll find out in a few minutes.
Yeah, they're playing down in Mankato.
Yeah.
All rise and sing happy birthday. Courtrooms across Minnesota will recess at 11 a.m. on September 17th in honor of the bicentennial of the U.S. Constitution. Minnesota native and former Supreme Court Chief Justice Warren Burger posed with school children in front of the National Archives in Washington today to draw attention to the upcoming nationwide celebration. The Archives building is where the Constitution is kept.
A couple of streaks kept alive today. Detroit that way and Minnesota that way.
Do you think the Twins can win the West without winning another game on the road?
No, it's impossible.
Well, the Twins went belly up in Detroit again today. Paul Mauter's streak continues, and we'll update the progress of the Vikings' #1 draft choice, running back D.J. Dozier, up next in sports.
Looking for the best deal on a new luxury car? Your Nissan dealer's got it. With sensational year-end savings on all Stanzas and Maximas, we've got the best selection ever of quality-built Nissan cars, and we've got to move them fast. Come in now, and we'll sweeten the deal with factory incentives that could save you up to $700 on Stanzas or up to $900 on Maximas. Big selection, year-end savings, and factory incentives. Get the deal of a lifetime. But hurry, incentives end soon at your nearby Nissan dealer.
Clean or good, men?
Aye, aye, sir.
Sir, unidentified deposits on fuel injector 3.
This sounds like a job for the Power Scrubbers.
Conoco's unleaded gasolines with Power Scrub clean your engine's fuel system so your car runs smoother with more power and fewer engine problems.
Hey, kid, for a rookie, you weren't half bad. What's your name again?
Bradshaw, sir.
Right.
Get Power Scrub with Conoco unleaded gasolines.
Come on, baby. Let's do the twist. Come on, baby. Let's do the twist. Take me by my little hand and go like this.
What do I have to do to get your attention?
Wait till I'm done with this.
Introducing the cool twist from Hardee's. Chocolate and vanilla together or apart. All new, all from Hardee's. In recent years, automobiles have become more and more efficient, more and more advanced technologically, incorporate more features, and are more and more alike. Which is one reason why, if you're considering buying another car, you probably shouldn't until you've seen the Sturley.
I listened to the first 2 innings of that game on the radio today, and I couldn't stand anymore.
Well, I think it's just guys with the same names as the Twins. But it's just a bunch of yokels. They're not the real guys out there. It can't be.
You'd have to wonder by now. I'll tell you, 8-0 was the final in Detroit today. Now, let's see if we have this right. The Twins get swept out of Detroit, outscored 26-3 in the process, and they still have the biggest lead in the majors, 4 games over Oakland. Psychologically, and I know manager Tom Kelly hates to talk psychology, but the Twins are playing like they're beaten from the moment they take the field on the road. How can they turn it around? Well, a Frank Viola shutout may be the only answer. Joe Niekro was more effective on David Letterman in New York than he was on the mound in Detroit. Making his first start since his 10-game Emory board suspension, Necro's knuckler danced all over Tiger Stadium. In 3 1/3 innings, Necro gave up 7 hits, 6 runs, all earned. We'll toss in a couple of wild pitches here, and that summed up his matinee appearance. The way it went for Necro and the Twins this afternoon. Meanwhile, Doyle Alexander, with relief help in the 9th, shut the Twins out. In fact, Minnesota had only 1 assist in the game. Here it is, in the final out of the 8th inning. That's incredible. Only 1 team in Major League history has not had an assist in a 9-inning game, and that was in 1945. Tigers hit a few fly balls and line drives today. Some were caught, most were not. 8-0 the final. Here's the good news. Still with that healthy 4-game lead over Oakland. Kansas City was idle. They're 4.5 back. California's playing right now, so they still trail the Twins by 5. One thing's for sure, the pressure isn't getting to Paul Molitor. Molitor doubled in the 2nd inning tonight, extending his hitting streak to 35 games. Molitor, who finished the game with 3 hits, has tied Ty Cobb for the 6th longest streak in the modern era. Milwaukee winning that game 14-2. Toronto now just a half game back of Detroit. They beat Oakland 7-6. Baltimore, California 1-all in the 3rd. Texas defeated the White Sox. The Yankees leading Seattle in the 2nd. Well, tonight's scuffball suspect is Atlanta reliever Jim Acker, who had his glove checked 3 times by umpire Dick Stello. Chicago manager Gene Michael protested the game because Acker wasn't ejected. Chicago lost the game 13-4 despite Andre Dawson's 2 home run performance. Dawson, the Cubbies' a bargain basement free agent, now leads the National League in home runs with 38. The Mets are now just 2.5 games behind St. Louis because they beat San Francisco, and the Cardinals lost to the Astros 5-4. Atlanta 13-4 over the Cubs. Just a half game separates the top 3 teams in the National League West. Cincinnati beating Pittsburgh 5-3. The Dodgers 7-2 over Montreal, and Philadelphia 10-2 over San Diego. He's a quiet, unassuming young man, but DJ Dozier may be one of the most anticipated and talked about players in the Vikings camp.
Running backs, like few other athletes, can captivate a fan's imagination.
Against the Bears, Chuck Foreman literally burst to the front in the Rookie of the Year race, as time after time he found his way into the Chicago secondary.
The question is, does DJ Dozier hold this potential in the pros?
At this point, I think there's a lot of confusion, a lot of hesitation, which again keeps him from realizing his potential. You know, those young people got a lot to learn, and it's going to take them time. And I don't recall anybody that first year of you know, burning up an exhibition season.
It's no cliche to say Dotch has seen it all. An assistant with 4 NFL teams and coach of the year in the USFL, Dotch recognizes the rigors of being a rookie.
And like all of our rookies, DJ is having that same problem of getting things filtered out in the right place, and that's going to come with experience.
Dozier must adjust to the more complicated pro set, unlike Penn State's I formation. Here he has more responsibility. Meanwhile, this quiet Virginian is his most exacting critic.
I am. Of course, you have to be tough on yourself to become a better player, a better person, and of course you need others also to help you to, you know, to pep you up or to tell you, you know, you're not hustling enough or whatever, you know, because there's sometimes you yourself, your mind can get lazy also.
So it's no surprise what DJ thought about DJ's performance in New Orleans.
Well, my personal play was not par, you know. I expected to be, you know, somewhat near par, you know. But you know, that's what preseason games are for.
Dozier will see a lot of action against Indianapolis Saturday night in the Metrodome, where there'll be 2 changes on defense with Joey Browner and Ike Holt scheduled to start. Of course, you can watch the game right here on Channel 4 beginning 7 o'clock Saturday night. DJ Dozier, like a lot of rookies having trouble maybe at the start, but I think we'll be seeing a lot of him for years to come.
Oh, he's got a lot of years to play.
Class act, too.
I think we can win this World Series. I've just started to think about that.
Figured it out?
If we can get Uberoff to kind of change the rules so we play all the games at home.
No problem.
Give him a call, would you, Mark?
Sure thing.
Thanks. In a moment, what some people are saying about this year's fall fashions.
Day after day, short trips can clog your fuel injectors or carburetor. But with Phillips 66 super clean unleaded gasolines, as little as 1 tank full can clean your engine to run like new. Super clean unleaded gasolines from Phillips 66.
Sure, I still use my old gas card. Especially since I learned that cash and credit are the same low price at Phillips 66.
Phillips 66. Cash or credit, same low price.
Songs to sing along with. From the Light FM, FM 103, WLTE. Listen to the Light FM at work all day. At home to take it easy. In the car to unwind. At night and on weekends to relax with the family and friends. Here's how we do it. No boring, sleepy strings. No elevator music. No blasts of rock. Just hour after hour of songs to sing along with. On the Light FM, 103, WLTE.
The $100,000 Canterbury Cup. Last year, it was won by a Minnesota-owned horse named Smile, who went on to become a national champion. And who will win the Canterbury Cup this year? You will. Just come out for the big race this Sunday, August 23rd, and you'll receive a free Canterbury Cup, the first in a collector's series. The Canterbury Cup. This year, everybody will get one.
About this time in August, you start checking the closet for whatever fall clothes you still have around and can still fit into.
Yeah, and then you decide it's time to think about some new clothes for fall, and about 600 women did just that today as they attended the annual League of Catholic Women Fashion Show with clothes from Herald. Cindy Hilger tells us the show gives us a glimpse of what's to become the latest style.
In about a month or so, these summer clothes will move to the back of the closet. And here's what retailers are hoping will replace them this fall. Today at a preview of what's in, more than 600 people turned out. Here's what they saw. Skirts are short, jackets are long. Browns, blacks, grays, and purples top the color list. Hats are back. Take a look for yourself.
There's a lot of return to luxury, a lot of return to cashmeres, leathers, suedes, and they all look very, very rich, particularly in those browns and in those blacks and those hunter greens, which we really think of when we think of fall.
I think I was more impressed with the colors that they showed this year.
This year you can really tell that the fashions have totally changed, that anything in your closet that you have from last couple years, you probably have to put away and start all over again.
An expensive proposition unless you saved clothes from years ago.
They're going back to picking up some of the styles that we used to wear when we were young.
Designers have one piece of advice if you can't afford to revamp your wardrobe. Buy yourself a slim skirt and a blouse and a long jacket, and you're set for the season. Cindy Hilger, WCCO Television News, Minneapolis.
Looks like some of us are going to have to diet.
No, you're not. Okay. See, keep my mouth quiet now. Would you tell us what the weather's going to be?
I'd be glad to.
Okay.
A chance of thunderstorms and a high of 87. Good night, everyone.
Thank you.
We're Charlie Boone and Roger Erickson. Join us for the hit, the bit, worst joke, and the latest installment of Minnesota Hospital tomorrow morning on CCO Radio.
This is the big one. 1.9% financing on new Pontiacs, the absolute lowest GMAC rate ever. Now at your Greater Metropolitan Pontiac dealers. 1.9 on Grand Dams, Bonneville's, Pontiac 6000, Sunbirds, Firebirds, Fieros, even the amazing new 88 Le Mans. Or get full 48-month financing at a low 4.8%. Or get up to $700 cash back. The big one is 100% factory funded to give you your absolute best deal at your Greater Metropolitan Pontiac dealers.
Perkins introduces 5 new basket dinners.
They watch to make my glasses right in their own lab.